She's Larry. So this week we're in a G80 M3. I've been waiting for this one for ages. I'm a little bit late to the party, but you know, better late than never, I suppose. So this G80 M3 that we're in this week has 503 horsepower, 479 pounds-foot of torque. It's an absolute weapon, but the second you get in it, it feels beautifully made and it immediately feels compliant, supple, soft. It looks after the mass that it's obviously gained through getting bigger and more luxurious. This car is so cool. Genuinely, I got in it this morning. I've only had it today. I got it this morning, drove all the way up to the Brecon Beacons, and in that time, it inspires confidence straight away. The front end grip is unbelievable. Then you've got the rear end will follow you round. Once you've got the front end in, obviously that 503 horsepower, overwhelming the rear tyres whenever you want it to. The brakes on this car, we've not got the carbon ceramics, so there would be some fade, I imagine, on a racetrack. But if you're going to take one of these on the racetrack, then fair play to you. But you know, it probably wouldn't be an extra that I would necessarily choose. I think the steels on this are plenty powerful enough. The pedal feel is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, it's a really, really fast getting things done car. You do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, which is absolutely plenty for a road car. It's just such a good car, and some of me wanted to not like it because I loved the F80 outgoing M3. I thought they would look so cool, but they were, I know I've used this word before for M cars, they were quite spiteful, especially the early ones. You got a whacking great load of torque all at once, and the rear wheels just could not find the grip. This one has a remarkable amount of grip, but if you provoke it, you can overwhelm the rear tyres quite easily. The 3-litre engine up front in this G80 M3, to be honest, I know obviously some of the noise is probably being piped in through the stereo and all that sort of trickery, but I don't really care anymore with all of that. That's just the way the world is, unfortunately. This car does sound pretty good though, I have to say. Obviously it's got the sports exhaust button down here that it seems that is always on. When you turn it off you can have it nice and quiet, but it does sound good. It sounds BMW M to me. It revs really nicely all the way up to sort of 7,000 RPM. There is something that I do find a relatively strange choice from BMW. They've put an 8-speed ZF gearbox with this 3-litre turbocharged engine, and I always loved, there was nothing wrong with the DCT gearbox, the outgoing DCT gearbox. It was such a good gearbox, and you got the changes just somehow felt a little bit more snap sharp. This one is, yes, it's very quick, yes, it does as it's told, but it's not so much of an event. You have 3 modes that you can choose down here, so you can have it nice and ferocious, or you can have it really, really soft and sort of automatic, I suppose. But this automatic gearbox to live with, I imagine, is an absolute dream. One thing with this 8-speed ZF gearbox, they have given this M3 these absolutely lovely carbon fibre paddles. They're really nice. They've got a lovely feel to them. They're knurling on the back. Your finger sits straight in. You can really grab one because they're really big and long. So let's talk about the slight bone of contention with this G80 M3, and that is obviously the front grille. I'm not going to go on about that because everyone else has gone on about it, and they've all gone on about it on social media and on everything else, and I'm not particularly interested. I think when I first saw it, I thought it was awful. Now, I really, really like it. It's an absolute grower. I think it looks fantastic, especially in M3 guise. I'm not such a fan of it in M4 guise. I don't know why, I just think the M3 looks more squat. The doors and the lines just work better for me in the M3, especially in this Isle of Man green that we've got on this one, this press spec car. This press spec car has the amazing carbon bucket seats. They are insanely cool. They're the coolest seats I've seen in any production car at the moment. But there is one thing, in the middle of your legs, it feels like you've got a mobile phone down here all the time, and it feels slightly odd. Obviously, you get used to it the more you drive the car, but it feels like you're in a sort of racing bucket seat. But they are quite comfortable as well, and I think for long journeys they wouldn't be a problem at all. BMW have really upped their game with their interiors. You've got all of the infotainment system on the large screen here, the large screen in front of you. You've got the M buttons on the steering wheel that just can be configurated to however you want it to be configurated. The steering wheel is typically M. It's exactly the same. This one's obviously got carbon fibre all over it, genuinely all over the outside, all over the inside, the seats, the dashboard, everything is carbon fibre in this car, all over the steering wheel. It's a lovely item. It's typically quite thick, like a BMW steering wheel always is, with the lovely M stitching in it, but it's not as thick as some of their outgoing cars, like the M2 CS and things like that, is ludicrously thick, so you lose a bit of feel through the steering. This one, wonderful feel through the steering. I have to say, this rack in this car is really fantastic. You really get a grasp of what the front end is doing, and the front end is completely glued to the road. It really is fantastic. This being a brand new car, it feels brand new. So just little things like you have USB-C connectivity, it just feels quite future-proofed over and above other outgoing models. So you've got all of that sort of thing. You've got obviously wireless phone charging, all of those sort of things that just make this car feel of its time. Around these roads, my word, it is a fast car with a capital F, like really fast, but in a really manageable, confidence-inspiring way. I imagine in the rain this is an absolute animal, but we've got lovely dry B roads. On a road like this, I'm not sure there are many cars that keep up with this. I know there's going to be a four-wheel drive version of this M3, and when the wagon comes out, oh my word, the estate car, the touring, is going to be, I think that might be the car for me. This car, I mean, I wasn't going to really talk about the price of it, but I suppose I'll tell you how much it is. You can get them for sort of mid-70s. That's where they sort of start. This one is £87,000 for a BMW M3 3 Series. £87,000. But you know, on the monthly, I'm sure that's, you know, what, £1,000, £1,200 a month. You know, if you can afford that sort of thing, I'm not sure I can think of a better car than this. It is absolutely mega. Room for the kids in the back, and there is loads of room in the back. I've got my drone pilot on the back seat as usual. Go and check them out on Instagram, Aerial Perspective Services. You'd love a little follow. But yeah, this is a proper piece of kit. And it's beautifully made, I have to say. BMW really upped their game. It feels as expensive as £87,000. You know, just the way it drives, the way it acts, everything about it is just absolutely spot on, I have to say. And if you can get over the front kidney grills and, you know, look past the Marmite looks, I really like them now. I think especially this guise of M3, the way this one looks, it looks menacing, it looks brilliant. And some people might hate it, but I swear to God, just keep hanging around them and they get better and better and better. Go and drive one. If you drive one, you'll realise that the looks don't matter. It's fantastic.